Hey everyone! Today I'm going to share how to save 10,000 extra caps that you can pull from any time during Season 17. I believe that all players, new or old, could benefit from this information. By following this advice, you'll put yourself and your Fallout finances in a much better place. And the eventual payoff could be worth more than any of the regular season rewards. Basically, there's one reward type in seasons that you should not unlock until you absolutely need to. And if you haven't figured it out by now, that reward is the caps reward. If you've already redeemed the caps reward, later in the video I'll explain how to still partake in this strategy so you can benefit from it. The only variable is the exact amount of caps you can save. There are countless reasons why this is good advice, but I'm only going to explain the most important one here. I really could have made out big during Season 16 had I known this then, which is why I had to make this video. Over the years, I've read many reports of players finding very high value items for sale in player vendors for 40,000 caps. Besides the worthless notes that players put in their vendor, whether jokingly or left over from when players did this to combat a nasty vendor bug, there are occasionally items that many players consider trade only and are worth more than 40,000 caps. It's those players shopping and looking for these expensive items that could really benefit from this advice. Of course, it applies to any player who is looking to make out with more than they normally could afford. Now, in Season 17, just 2 5,000 caps rewards can be redeemed from the Seasons page, making out to a total of 10,000 caps in savings. My advice to all players is that unless if you have a very good reason, or it is the end of the season, try to hold off from redeeming these caps rewards until there is an opportunistic moment to do so. Really, all you have to save are the tickets needed to unlock these cap rewards, which is only 5 tickets this season. By holding off and unlocking each season's caps rewards while also keeping the required amount of tickets needed to unlock those caps, you can create a separate Fallout 76 caps savings account for yourself. This way you'll be more prepared and be able to buy out whatever items you stumble across. I want to stress that even if you have 40,000 caps, the problem that naturally arises is being able to stay at 40,000 caps as you shop player vendors. Keeping your caps at a max of 40,000 is nearly impossible due to the expensive nature of traveling across the map. With fast travel costs alone, it won't take long for that 40,000 to drop down to 39,000, 38,000, or even less. This is exactly what happened to me last season, when I didn't have enough caps to buy an item I really wanted. Because I had foolishly redeemed the caps reward already, I didn't have a way of returning to 40,000 caps at that moment, and the seller disappeared before I had a chance to make that purchase. As an endgame player who is often sitting around max caps, the only value I saw in the caps reward last season was that they were a cheap reward on the seasons page, and it would contribute to the 95 items I needed to unlock before I can access the final bonus page. I'm telling you that despite the caps reward costing 0 tickets to unlock, or 5 tickets for the second one, or really whatever it costs in future seasons, I do not advise unlocking them. Again, not until the right moment comes up. With up to 10,000 caps that can be redeemed from the Season 17 page, you can confidently drop down to as low as 30,000 caps without worrying about missing out on a great buy. You no longer have to partake in any of the older strategies for getting back to max caps at a moment's notice. I'm referring to how players might hoard mole miner pails or even holiday gifts because opening these items often results in a caps payout. A Nuka-Cola fan might quickly drink as many Nuka-Cola products as necessary to return to 40,000. Now, these are valid methods too, especially if you've already redeemed the caps rewards for this season. But I wouldn't recommend these space-wasting methods, especially not the Nuka-Cola method. It doesn't seem very healthy.
Do you like Nuka-Cola? Don't be silly. Of course you do.
It seems like some players don't quite understand this. And this should go without saying, but there is no unsaid rule that if you have an item listed for 40,000 caps, that means you are simply advertising that you have that said item. There are easier and other established ways to do that without the risk of someone buying it, like featuring your item on a display rack, using the mannequins to display your outfits. Even if you don't want to display the item, you can still advertise the item using the in-game letter set and a chalkboard. It is nobody's fault but yours if someone else buys your 40k item that you didn't mean to sell. Another related note, the only guaranteed way to close off your vending machine is by scrapping it, or better yet, storing it. Don't assume that players won't be able to access it because you have it off in some inaccessible room somewhere. There are ways around nearly everything in this game, including accessing areas that players aren't meant to access. So with that in mind, many players still make these mistakes, and that's another reason why you should try this out. Your best Fallout 76 purchase might just come from one of these scenarios when you make out with some rare item, god tier weapon, or armor piece that the seller didn't necessarily mean to sell. And to that I say, tough luck to the seller. Again, it should be common sense not to put an item in your vendor if you don't want it to be sold. So with all of that said, happy hunting, happy player vendor hopping, and happy spending. Please remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you found this information useful, and thank you for watching.